I'm Artifacts of Mars. And I recently learned some information which may have a direct bearing on the Satan mentioned in the Christian Bible. I want you to understand that this really isn't a religious presentation. I am an agnostic. But I recently learned some information which may bear on the Satan in the Bible. Now, what does the Bible say about the spirit the creature that tempted Adam and Eve? Say it was a serpent. What is a serpent? A serpent is reptile. This particular reptile was intelligent, and it was able to speak. It was able to communicate with Adam and Eve. So we have an intelligent talking reptile. Bear with me because this whole thing gets complex. So this reptile tempts Adam and Eve, and we have the fall and all this. Well, we need to read a little bit deeper into this. One of the things that God, whoever God is, says to the serpent, you're cursed above everything else, you crawl on your belly, you'll eat dust, blah blah blah. Well, snakes don't eat dust. And their method of propulsion is quite efficient. But the eating dust part, we're going to come to that later because it kind of bears on some of the information I learned. So the information I learned was that in 1934, a man, he was a mining engineer, decided to go drill underneath LA on the advice of an Indian, an American Indian, who said that there was an ancient reptilian civilization under Los Angeles, an ancient reptilian city. And this is all documented in LA Times in 1934. His last name was Schufelt. This is all documented stuff. This is not conspiracy theory. The guy had x-ray equipment. I didn't even know they had that stuff back then for this purpose, x-ray equipment, but I guess he did a number of soundings or whatever they do with it, and he drew up a pretty sophisticated map of this purported reptilian city. So, and like I said, this is all documented. So what does this have to do with the Christian Bible? Well, maybe everything. First of all, the Bible says it was an intelligent talking reptile that tempted Adam and Eve. Which implies, of course, that there was another species sharing the planet with humans. Right? A species of reptilians. And what's one of the things that UFO people are saying frequently is that there are reptilians visiting this planet. Intrigued? I was. Well, cut to Job, I think it's chapter 7. Satan, I'm not sure the chapter, but Satan goes up to God and says, God asks him, where did you come from? I'm going to save you the archaic language, alright? Where did you come from? Satan says, I've been walking around inside the earth. Duh! American Indian legends are saying that, basically say that these reptilians live underground. And here we had Satan, who's supposedly the serpent from the Garden of Eden, said, I've been running around underneath the earth. Duh! Well, how do you like them apples? We have people who swear that there are reptilians visiting this earth. That they even live around among us and try to corrupt us. The Christian Bible says devils and demons try to corrupt us. And then you have the Christian Bible saying where God, whoever God is, asks Satan, where have you been? And Satan says, well, I'm running around underneath the earth. I'm running around inside the earth. Well, there you go. Bible, by its own admission, is admitting that there is a reptilian being, or at least one of them, probably a whole host of them, living underneath the earth. Well, isn't that juicy? The Christians, of course, hold to this ethereal being thing. So, what's the purpose of this? Well, let's say UFO conspiracy theorist people are right. We have reptilians living among us, and they're trying to pervert the human race. It gets worse from there, however. So they're living among us. So who exactly is God? Well, if you look at Genesis, whoever God is says, let us create man in our own image. First of all, we have the plurals there, us and our, so it implies there's more than one being. Secondly, let us create man, which implies that humans or something like them already existed on the earth. And so what you have is a situation where perhaps whoever God is created, the Adam and Eve, and that pissed off the reptilians. And that's kind of what I'm thinking along the lines. This is if you believe the biblical story of Eden. And the creation of Eve says that Eve was taken out of Adam. God took a rib. The problem is, men have XY chromosomes and women have XX. So there'd have to be some genetic engineering there. In any event, whoever God is creates them, and he pisses off this other being called Satan. But it gets worse. I believe it was Ezekiel said he saw war in heaven, and some were cast down. Duh. Back then they thought outer space was heaven. Right? Because humans tried to climb up to, they climbed up the Tower of Babel when they were trying to build a tower up into heaven. We know now that would have never worked, but they tried it. So they tried to build a tower to heaven. And then, I think it's Ezekiel talks about a war in heaven. And then third of the God's angels are cast down. Well, duh. War in heaven, in this context, translates into a war in outer space. A war out in the solar system. And where are the reptilians driven to in this scenario? They're driven underground, inside the earth. This is why Satan said, I was walking around inside the earth and up and down in it. Well, how did this war happen? It seems to me that this earth was colonized a long time ago by two conflicting races. If I'm going to believe what the Bible says, then I have to at least accept there's this possibility. It's not a conclusion, it's only speculation, but two races, one of them from a planet where the reptilian species are dominant, and they put their reptilian species on Earth. You ever notice that as far as land creatures go, there are three basic types, really only two basic types. Birds tend to get lumped in with the reptilian types. There are reptilians, and then there are mammals, right? As far as the more advanced creatures, that's not counting insects or things of that nature. So there are two basic types, reptilians and mammals. And we're, of course, mammals, and we're at the center of everything, apparently. So the mammals and the reptilians, in my hypothetical scenario, fight it out. And the reptilians are defeated, and they're driven underground, but they continue to mess with us some way, trying to corrupt us every chance they get. Who knows what means? You ever heard of MK Ultra? It's a mind control program that we got from the Nazis. At least we got the idea from the Nazis. Look it up. So that's a plausible scenario in my opinion. Now, who God is supposed to be, I don't know. But in this scenario, reptilians are defeated, they live underground, and they do talk with whoever our overseers are. And we're stuck in the middle. The Bible actually, basically says this. It calls Satan a dragon. And if you look at all the legends from different Indian tribes and whatnot, there's all these dragons and Satan things and what have you. There's some flying creature down in South America supposed to be coming back or something. So, if you look at the Bible critically, what it could be saying in essence is that there's this war on between reptilians and mammals. And reptilians were driven underground and may even live under there to this day. Like I said, many people claim to have seen reptilians, aliens. I've never seen an alien. I have seen UFOs, so I believe they exist. So don't think for an instant that everything is exactly as you've been told, because it isn't. There are many, many different concepts to explore. And you just let people throw Bible verses at you, and you don't make an effort to examine things for yourself, that's where you wind up getting in trouble. That's what most Christians do, is they just sit there and throw Bible verses at people and they don't think. That's bad news. You don't want that. Now, what I've just said to you is speculation about the reptilians and the mammals, and how we could be beholden to much more powerful forces than us. And maybe we were the creation of a mammalian race. They got in a war with the reptilian race, and then this got misconstrued by people who wrote the Bible and didn't fully understand the implications of what they were writing. I don't know. This is all speculation. I'm throwing it out as food for thought. My advice to Christians out there, don't just throw Bible verses out. That's a lazy man's way of not studying things the way you should. You have a brain, use it. I'm Artifacts of Mars. Thanks for viewing. You have a brain.